The Aeronautical Development Agency has made an unusual decision for the Tejas Mk2 program. They are skipping the public ceremonial rollout. Preparing a fighter jet for a static media display requires engineers to freeze the configuration, fit every external panel, and physically halt internal wiring and avionics integration. By bypassing this aesthetic milestone, the agency is opting for parallel assembly. Subsystems are integrated and ground-tested simultaneously with the structural build, channeling all resources directly toward achieving the maiden flight. When the first prototype takes to the runway, it will do so in its bare yellow primer paint. The priority is structural and systems validation, rather than public aesthetics. Choosing functional flight tests over media events indicates a structural maturation within India's defense aerospace sector. It is a strictly pragmatic approach to engineering. This urgency is driven by math. The Indian Air Force is facing severe SWAGEN depletion as legacy fleets of Jaguars, Mirage 2000s, and MiG-29s reach the end of their service lives. A significant capability gap currently exists between the lightweight Tejas Mk2 entering service now and the fifth-generation advanced medium combat aircraft scheduled for the future. The Tejas Mk2 is classified as a medium-weight fighter, engineered specifically to fill this void. The Mk2 represents a systems overhaul designed to establish and stress test a completely new domestic supply chain. By validating new manufacturing techniques today, the Mk2 serves as the physical blueprint for the country's long-term aerospace goals, laying the industrial groundwork required to eventually build the AMCA. The primary engineering mandate for the Mk2 was contradictory: increase the airframe's length by 1.35 meters to accommodate more fuel and payload, while simultaneously reducing the structural weight by 200 kilograms. Older designs, including the Mk1, relied on traditional airframes constructed from multiple smaller metal plates joined together by thousands of heavy steel rivets. This 3D wireframe illustrates solving the weight problem through monolithic machining. Instead of assembling small parts, large frames are carved from a solid titanium block. This removes redundant fasteners and jigs. Beyond shedding weight, the absence of drilled holes improves long-term fatigue resistance. To complement the titanium core, engineers are constructing roughly 90. Enforcing these compressed deadlines ensures that local, micro, small, and medium enterprises rapidly mature their quality control and production lines. This creates the resilient industrial base needed before fifth-generation production can begin. That 200 kilograms of structural weight savings is immediately reinvested into the aircraft's interior, pushing internal fuel capacity to over 3,300 kilograms. Fighter jets typically supplement internal fuel with external drop tanks. However, standard cylindrical tanks disrupt airflow over the wings, generating massive interference drag during high-speed intercepts. To mitigate drag, the Mk2 uses a bespoke solution. This simulation contrasts a standard tank with a pinched waist tank. By narrowing the midsection into an hourglass shape, engineers apply the area rule, smoothing the cross-sectional area along the jet's length. As the aircraft accelerates towards the speed of sound, this specific shape actively prevents the buildup of severe wave drag shock waves. Operationally, this means pilots can execute rapid, low supersonic maneuvers without being forced to immediately jettison their external fuel to reduce drag. When combining the expanded internal tanks with these aerodynamically efficient drop tanks, the Mk2's ferry range doubles to approximately 3,500 kilometers. The combat endurance of the aircraft surges from the 57 minutes seen on the Mk1A to a loiter time of 120 minutes. A 2-hour loiter time allows the Air Force to maintain sustained dominance over contested borders, while drastically reducing the need to cycle aircraft in and out of the zone or rely on vulnerable mid-air refueling tankers. With a maximum takeoff weight of 17.5 tons, the aircraft features 11 weapon hardpoints capable of carrying a 6.5-ton external payload. The weapons package integrates indigenous and European deep strike munitions, most notably the Scalp cruise missile, which offers precision strike capabilities exceeding 500 kilometers. While the Mk2 is categorized as a 4.5-generation fighter, it actively incorporates low observability stealth geometries developed for the AMCA program. This schematic illustrates the implementation of twisted air intakes. By using a curved S-duct, the design physically blocks incoming straight-line radar waves from reaching the highly reflective spinning fan blades of the engine. This structural shaping is paired with indigenous Adresha radar-absorbent material coatings, engineered to absorb incoming X-band frequencies. The combination of composite skin, hidden engine blades, and absorbent coatings reduces the Mk2's frontal radar cross-section to just 25% of the legacy Mk1A. In modern beyond visual range combat, delaying detection by even a few seconds provides the critical first shot advantage against regional adversaries. To carry this heavier payload and sustain high-speed performance, Ada upgraded the propulsion system to the robust GE F414 INS6, producing 98 kilonewtons of thrust. The agreement between HAL and GE Aerospace to manufacture this engine in India has drawn policy debate, largely because the deal includes only an 80. Developing the capability to oversee the precision metallurgy, complex assembly, and quality control for the rest of the engine provides the technical baseline for high-end manufacturing. The sheer volume of the agreement, initially producing 99 engines locally, ensures this is a continuous, resilient industrial baseline, rather than a fleeting, small-scale assembly project. The F414 agreement is an essential bridging maneuver. Securing partial technology transfer guarantees the Mk2 flies on its scheduled timeline, while buying the domestic industry the years required to perfect fully indigenous engines for the AMCA. The Tejas Mk2 marks the transition from importing 4.5 generation capability to generating it domestically. Inside that cockpit, designers are implementing a unified digital interface capable of heavy sensor fusion, known as the Smart Cockpit. By standardizing this digital architecture across the Mk2, the naval twin-engine deck-based fighter, and the AMCA, the military will drastically slash cross-platform pilot training time. To avoid the historical production bottlenecks associated with state monopolies, defense planners are exploring models to engage private sector consortiums to build the Mk2. The strategic goal is to establish parallel assembly lines, scaling up capacity to rapidly deliver up to 250 jets to the Indian Air Force. Distributing the manufacturing load to the private sector is the only viable method to ensure the Air Force can replace its retiring legacy squadrons on an aggressive timeline. This graphic maps the sequence of interconnected engineering solutions. Monolithic machining reduced structural weight, enabling the fuel capacity required to utilize aerodynamically efficient area rule tanks. In turn, the pragmatic decision to accept an 80% engine technology transfer scales the local supply chain, giving private enterprises the capital and experience needed to mature. This logic circles back to the very beginning of the program's current phase. Skipping ceremonial optics in favor of raw functional flight tests is the ultimate proof of an aircraft program prioritizing performance over publicity. It represents a localized, accelerated industrial model that sharply contrasts with the heavy financial costs and political strings attached to purchasing foreign platforms. The engineering of the Tejas Mk2 constructs the physical and economic architecture of India's long-term